The sound of breaking glass shattered the pleasant hum of conversation at Bellini's, the upscale Italian restaurant where Renata O'Connor was quickly realizing she'd made a terrible mistake. Her date, Blake Thornton, had seemed charming during their first 2 meetings, successful, attentive, and well-mannered. But 3 drinks in, his true colors emerged with frightening clarity. "You think you're too good for me," Blake hissed, his knuckles white around his whiskey glass. "I paid for this entire evening and you can't even pretend to be interested." Renata maintained her composure, though her heart raced. "I think it's time for me to go home, Blake. Thank you for dinner." As she reached for her purse, Blake's hand shot out, gripping her wrist with alarming force. "We're not done here." 2 tables away, Noah Ingram winced at the unmistakable sound of conflict. He'd been enjoying a rare night out with his daughter, Lily, a celebration of her 10th birthday with the restaurant's famous tiramisu. Being a single father working 2 jobs meant these moments were precious and hard-won. But the conversation at the nearby table had grown increasingly tense over the past 20 minutes, impossible to ignore. "Dad," Lily whispered, her eyes wide with concern as she looked past him. "That man is hurting that lady." Noah turned and saw the elegant woman in the navy blue dress trying to pull her arm away from a man in an expensive suit who was gripping her wrist so tightly his knuckles had gone white. The woman's face showed a mixture of fear and determination. "Lily, stay right here. Don't move," Noah instructed, sliding out of the booth. At 34, the construction worker and part-time handyman wasn't looking for trouble, but he'd been raised to never ignore someone in distress. "Let go of me, Blake," Renata said, her voice low but firm. "You're making a scene." "You'll leave when I say you can leave," Blake spat, leaning closer. "Excuse me," Noah said, approaching the table. "The lady seems ready to call it a night." Blake looked up, annoyance flashing across his face. "Mind your own business, pal. This is between me and my date." Noah noticed the woman's grateful glance, the slight tremble in her hand as she tried again to pull free. "Madam, are you okay?" "She's fine," Blake snapped before she could answer. "I wasn't asking you," Noah replied evenly, keeping his eyes on Renata. Renata straightened her shoulders. "No, I'm not okay. I'd like to leave, but he won't let go of my arm." Blake stood abruptly, finally releasing Renata but turning his anger toward Noah. "Who the hell do you think you are, interrupting our evening?" Noah stood his ground, acutely aware of Lily watching from their table and other diners turning to observe the confrontation. "I'm just someone who doesn't think grabbing women is acceptable behavior, Dad." Lily's small voice called from their booth. Blake glanced toward the child, then back at Noah with a sneer. "Oh, playing hero for the kid, are we? Take your brat and get back to your cheap pasta, worker bee. This isn't your world." The insult rolled off Noah, but Blake's dismissive glance toward Lily made his jaw tighten. "Sir, I suggest you leave before this escalates." "Or what?" Blake took a step closer, alcohol fueling his bravado. "You'll get your hands dirty. Do you know who I am?" Renata had gathered her things and now stood. "Blake, stop it. I'm leaving. Don't make this worse. You're not going anywhere with this." Blake gestured contemptuously at Noah's worn jeans and flannel shirt, visible under his only decent jacket. When Blake reached for Renata again, Noah moved instinctively, stepping between them. Blake's fist came swinging, a clumsy punch that Noah saw coming. He deflected the blow and used Blake's momentum to guide him firmly into a seated position in his chair. "Sir, you've had too much to drink," Noah said quietly, holding Blake in place with a firm hand on his shoulder. To Renata, he added, "Madam, would you like me to walk you out?" The restaurant manager had appeared along with a waiter. "Is there a problem here?" "This man assaulted me," Blake sputtered, pointing at Noah. "That's not true," Renata said clearly. "This gentleman intervened when my date became aggressive. There are plenty of witnesses." Several nearby diners nodded in confirmation. "Mr. Thornton," the manager said with recognition, "perhaps it's best if we call you a car." While the manager dealt with the situation, Noah returned to his daughter. "Come on, Lily Pad, time to go." "But Dad, my tiramisu," Lily protested. Noah glanced at their half-eaten desserts and sighed. He'd saved for weeks for this dinner. "I know, sweetheart, I'm sorry. Please don't leave on my account," Renata said, approaching their table. "I'm the one who should go." Noah looked up at her, noticing for the first time how striking she was: deep brown eyes, dark hair pulled back in an elegant knot, and a genuine warmth in her smile despite the stress of the past few minutes. "I feel terrible for disrupting your dinner," she continued, looking at Lily. "Is it your birthday?" Lily nodded solemnly. "I'm 10 today." "Well, happy birthday," Renata smiled. "Would it be okay if I joined you for a moment? I'd love to thank your dad properly for his help." Lily looked to Noah, who hesitated before nodding. "Sure, if you'd like to." Renata slid into the booth across from them. "I'm Renata O'Connor, Noah Ingram," he replied, "and this is Lily." "Thank you for stepping in back there, Noah. That situation was getting out of hand," Noah shrugged. "Anyone would have done the same." "No," Renata shook her head. "They wouldn't. Several people watched it happen and looked away. You didn't." Noah felt uncomfortable with the praise. "Are you okay? Did he hurt you?" Renata rubbed her wrist absently. "I'll have a bruise, but I'm fine. More embarrassed than anything. I clearly misjudged his character." "People aren't always what they seem," Noah said diplomatically, conscious of Lily listening. "Dad teaches me about stranger danger," Lily piped up. "He says if someone makes you feel unsafe, you should trust your instincts." Renata smiled at the girl. "Your dad is very wise." The waiter approached with a concerned expression. "Is everything all right here? Can I get you anything, Miss O'Connor?" Noah raised an eyebrow at the deference in the waiter's tone. The restaurant staff clearly knew Renata. "Yes, thank you, Michael." "Could we get another tiramisu for the birthday girl, and the check for this table should come to me?" "Oh no," Noah interjected quickly. "That's not necessary. Please," Renata said quietly. "It's the least I can do." Before Noah could protest further, the waiter had gone. Noah shifted uncomfortably in his seat. He wasn't used to accepting help, especially not from strangers, but the eager look on Lily's face at the mention of another dessert made it hard to refuse. "So, Lily, what else did you do for your birthday?" Renata asked. As Lily launched into an animated description of her day, Noah observed Renata. There was something about her that didn't quite align with the upscale restaurant and designer dress. Despite her obvious wealth, she spoke to Lily with genuine interest, no condescension in her manner. The waiter returned with a fresh tiramisu, complete with a candle, and the entire waitstaff sang happy birthday to Lily, whose face glowed with delight. Noah felt a pang of gratitude mixed with pride. This was turning out to be a memorable birthday after all. When Lily excused herself to visit the restroom, Noah turned to Renata. "Thank you for that. You didn't have to." "I wanted to," Renata replied. "Your daughter is wonderful. You've clearly done an amazing job with her." Noah smiled, his expression softening. "She makes it easy." "She's the best thing in my life. If you don't mind my asking, is her mother?" "Out of the picture," Noah said simply. "Has been since Lily was 3. It's just been the two of us." Renata nodded, respecting his brevity on the subject. "That can't be easy." "It's not," Noah admitted. "But we manage." He hesitated, then asked, "That guy, is he someone you need to worry about? Will he bother you again?" Renata shook her head. "Blake and I had only gone out twice before tonight. He's a business acquaintance who asked me to dinner. I should have trusted my first impression of him." She paused. "The manager will make sure he gets home safely, and I doubt he'll contact me again once he sobers up." "Good," Noah said, relieved. "Everyone deserves to feel safe." When Lily returned, Renata prepared to leave. "I should get going. Thank you again, Noah, and happy birthday, Lily." "Wait," Noah said impulsively, surprised at himself. "How are you getting home after what happened?" "I have a car service," Renata assured him. "I'll be fine." Noah nodded, feeling oddly reluctant to see her go. "Well, take care." Renata smiled, then reached into her purse and pulled out a business card. "If you ever need anything handyman work, construction, whatever you do, I'd be happy to recommend you. My office is always looking for reliable contractors." Noah took the card, glancing at it briefly. "Renata O'Connor, CEO, Phoenix Innovations." He looked up, trying to mask his surprise. Phoenix Innovations was one of the largest tech companies in the city, known for its philanthropic initiatives as much as its cutting-edge software. "It was lovely meeting you both," Renata said, her eyes lingering on Noah's for a moment before she turned to leave. As Noah watched her walk away, Lily's voice broke through his thoughts. "Dad, she was pretty and nice." Yes, she was Lily Pad, Noah agreed, tucking the business card into his wallet, certain he would never use it. Now finish your tiramisu so we can head home. You've got school tomorrow. 2 days later, Noah was replacing rotted floorboards in Mrs. Hernandez's bathroom, a side job he'd taken to help cover Lily's upcoming school field trip to the Science Museum when his phone rang. He didn't recognize the number but answered anyway, wiping his hands on his jeans. Noah Ingram. Mr. Ingram, this is Andrea Wells, executive assistant to Renata O'Connor at Phoenix Innovations. Miss O'Connor mentioned you might be available for some renovation work at our downtown office. Noah was momentarily speechless. She did. Yes. We're refurbishing our employee lounge and break areas, and we need someone reliable. Miss O'Connor spoke highly of your work ethic. Would you be interested in submitting a bid? Noah's mind raced. A contract with Phoenix Innovations could mean stable income for months. Yes, absolutely. When would you need the estimate? Could you come in tomorrow to see the space? Say 10 a.m., I'll be there, Noah confirmed, trying to keep the excitement from his voice. After hanging up, Noah stared at his phone in disbelief. He hadn't expected Renata to actually follow through. Most people made empty offers of help, especially to someone like him. But maybe Renata O'Connor was different. The next morning, after dropping Lily at school, Noah arrived at the gleaming Phoenix Innovations headquarters dressed in his cleanest work clothes. He'd spent half the night researching the company and preparing questions about the renovation. This could be a game changer for him and Lily if he landed the contract. The receptionist directed him to the executive floor, where Andrea, a professional-looking woman in her 40s, greeted him warmly. Mr. Ingram, thank you for coming. Miss O'Connor asked to see you before I show you the spaces that need renovation. Noah followed Andrea through the sleek, modern office to a corner suite with glass walls that offered a spectacular view of the city. Renata was at her desk, engaged in what appeared to be an intense phone conversation. She looked up as they entered, her face brightening with recognition. I'll have to call you back, she said into the phone before standing to greet Noah. Today, she wore a tailored charcoal suit that somehow made her look both authoritative and approachable. Noah, thank you for coming, she said, extending her hand. Thanks for thinking of me, he replied, shaking her hand. This is unexpected, Renata smiled. We genuinely need the work done, and I prefer to hire people I trust. She glanced at Andrea. Could you give us a minute before showing Mr. Ingram the renovation areas? Once they were alone, Renata's professional demeanor softened slightly. How's Lily? She's good. Still talking about her birthday tiramisu? Noah shifted his weight, feeling out of place in the luxurious office. Look, I appreciate the opportunity, but I have to ask, is this a charity offer? Because I don't, it's not charity, Renata interrupted firmly. We need work done, and we need someone reliable. From what I observed, you're someone who steps up when needed and doesn't back down from a challenge. Those are exactly the qualities we look for in our contractors. Noah studied her, trying to determine if she was being honest. All right then, I'll put together the best bid I can. That's all I ask, Renata said, her smile returning. And Noah, this isn't just about the other night. Consider that your foot in the door, but the rest is up to you. The tour with Andrea revealed 3 employee lounge areas that needed updating, plus a complete renovation of the company's in-house cafe. It was a substantial project, much larger than Noah typically handled alone. We'd need this completed within 8 weeks, Andrea explained. We understand you might need to bring in additional help. I have a network of trusted subcontractors, Noah assured her, already making mental notes about who he'd call. I can handle it. Back at home that evening, after Lily was in bed, Noah worked late into the night preparing his bid. He was determined to make it competitive but realistic, accounting for quality materials and fair wages for the team he'd assemble. This was his shot, and he wasn't going to waste it. When he submitted the proposal 3 days later, he knew it was solid work. What he didn't know was whether it would be enough to compete with larger construction companies. A week passed with no word. Noah tried not to think about it, focusing instead on his regular jobs and helping Lily with her science project. Then on Friday afternoon, his phone rang with the now familiar number. Mr. Ingram, Andrea's voice came through. I'm pleased to inform you that Phoenix Innovations would like to accept your bid for the renovation project. Noah closed his eyes, a wave of relief washing over him. That's great news, thank you. Miss O'Connor would like to discuss the details with you. Could you come in on Monday morning? Absolutely, Noah agreed, already calculating how he would rearrange his schedule and who he would call first to assemble his team. That night, he took Lily out for pizza to celebrate. I got a big new job, Lily pad. It's going to mean some long hours for a while, but it's good money. Lily looked thoughtful as she chewed her pizza. Is it for that nice lady from my birthday, the pretty one? It's for her company, yes, Noah clarified. Are you going to see her again? Noah gave his daughter a curious look. Probably since it's her company. Why? Lily shrugged with the innocent directness of a 10-year-old. You smiled different when you talked to her. Like how you smile in the old pictures with Mom before she got sad. Noah was taken aback by his daughter's observation. Had he really looked at Renata that way? It's just a job, Lily. Miss O'Connor is a very busy, very important businesswoman. We're not going to be seeing much of her. But on Monday morning, it was Renata herself who met Noah in the conference room, not Andrea. She had the contract documents spread out before her and greeted him with a warm smile. Your proposal was excellent, she said after they'd exchanged pleasantries. Thorough, fair pricing, good timeline. The committee was impressed. Thank you, Noah said, sitting across from her. I'm looking forward to getting started. There is one additional request, Renata said, sliding a folder across to him. We'd like to add an outdoor patio space renovation to the project. It would extend your timeline by about 3 weeks with a corresponding increase in the contract value. Would that be feasible for you? Noah opened the folder, scanning the specifications for the additional work. It was substantial but manageable. Yes, I can handle this. I'd need to bring in a landscaper I've worked with before for some of this, but that's not a problem. Excellent, Renata smiled. Then if you're comfortable with everything, we can sign today and you can start next week. As they went through the contract details, Noah found himself increasingly impressed by Renata's knowledge and attention to detail. She wasn't just a figurehead CEO. She understood construction basics and asked insightful questions about his approach to the project. I hope you don't mind my asking, Noah said during a pause in their discussion, but you seem to know a lot about construction for someone in the tech industry. Renata's expression softened with what looked like nostalgia. My father was a carpenter. I grew up helping him on job sites every summer until I went to college. It was just the two of us after my mother died, so we spent a lot of time together that way. That explains it, Noah nodded, finding this connection unexpected. Lily sometimes comes with me on the smaller jobs during school breaks. She's getting pretty good at identifying different types of screws. Renata laughed, a genuine sound that transformed her professional demeanor. I used to be able to identify different wood types by smell. My father thought it was hilarious. There was a moment of shared understanding between them. Both had known what it was to grow up learning a trade from a parent, to feel the satisfaction of creating something tangible with their hands. The moment passed as Andrea entered with refreshments, and they returned to business. By the end of the meeting, Noah had signed the contract and had a security badge that would give him access to the building for the duration of the project. As they wrapped up, Renata said, I'd like regular updates on the progress if that works for you, maybe weekly check-ins. Of course, Noah agreed, gathering his copies of the documents. Whatever you prefer. Good, and Noah, Renata added as he turned to leave. I'm glad you answered that call, he smiled, understanding she meant more than just the phone call about the job. Me too. The renovation work began the following Monday. Noah assembled a team of 6 trusted workers, including his friend Marcus, a skilled electrician, and Alina, a talented carpenter he'd worked with on several previous jobs. They started with the largest employee lounge, gutting the outdated space to prepare for the modern, comfortable area detailed in the plans. Noah immersed himself in the project, finding satisfaction in the methodical transformation of each space. The Phoenix Innovations employees were friendly, often stopping to chat about the progress when they passed through. It was different from many of his other jobs, where clients typically just wanted the work done with minimal interaction. True to her word, Renata scheduled weekly check-in meetings. Sometimes these were brief walk-throughs of the spaces under renovation, with Andrea taking notes. Other times, when Renata's schedule allowed, they were more detailed discussions over coffee in her office. During one such meeting, 3 weeks into the project, Renata seemed particularly stressed, frowning at her tablet as they reviewed progress photos. "Is everything okay?" Noah asked, noticing the tension in her shoulders. Renata sighed, setting the tablet aside. "Just a difficult negotiation with a potential partner company. Nothing to do with your work, which is coming along beautifully." "Glad to hear it," Noah said. "We're actually a bit ahead of schedule on the main lounge. I noticed." Renata smiled, though it didn't quite reach her eyes. "It's refreshing to work with someone who consistently delivers what they promise." There was something in her tone that made Noah pause. "Sounds like that's been rare in your experience lately." Renata laughed without humor. "You could say that. Business partnerships are a lot like dating, full of promises that often fall short when it comes time to deliver." "Speaking of dating," Noah said carefully, "no more trouble from that guy from the restaurant, Blake." "No," Renata shook her head. "He sent a rather insincere apology email the next day, probably at the insistence of his PR team. Apparently, he remembers enough to know he made a fool of himself." "Good," Noah said firmly. Renata studied him for a moment. "Can I ask you something personal?" Noah nodded, curious. "How do you do it? Balance everything as a single parent, I mean, running your own business, raising Lily, keeping it all together." The question caught him off guard. It wasn't something people usually asked him. "I just do what needs doing. Some days are better than others. I have a good support network. My neighbor, Mrs. Reyes, watches Lily after school, and my sister helps out when she can." "But it's ultimately all on you," Renata observed. "Yes," Noah agreed, "but Lily's worth every sleepless night and missed opportunity." Renata's expression was thoughtful. "My father used to say something similar about raising me alone. I didn't fully appreciate what that meant until I was much older." Before Noah could respond, Andrea knocked on the door with a reminder about Renata's next meeting. The moment of personal connection dissolved back into professional courtesy as they wrapped up their discussion. As the weeks progressed, these moments of personal connection became more frequent. Noah learned that Renata had built Phoenix Innovations from a small startup to a major tech company over 12 years, that she had a passion for restoring vintage motorcycles, another skill learned from her father, and that despite her success, she often felt isolated by her position. In turn, Noah shared stories about Lily's adventures in elementary school, his journey from construction worker to independent contractor, and his dream of someday building his own house from the ground up. The renovation was proceeding smoothly, with each completed space receiving enthusiastic approval from the Phoenix employees. Noah's team had just begun work on the outdoor patio area when an unexpected complication arose. "We've hit a major plumbing issue," Noah explained to Renata during an unscheduled meeting in her office. "The water line that runs near the patio has significant corrosion. It needs to be replaced before we can proceed with the hardscaping." Renata frowned at the photos Noah showed her. "That looks serious. How much will it set us back?" "In terms of cost, about $15,000 for the materials and labor. In terms of time, probably an additional week." To Noah's surprise, Renata didn't seem fazed by the figures. "If you're confident that's what it will take to fix it properly, then let's proceed. I'd rather address it now than have problems later." Her trust in his judgment was affirming. "I'll get the additional materials ordered today." As he stood to leave, Renata said, "Noah, I'm hosting a small gathering at my home this Saturday evening, a thank you to some of our key project teams who have been putting in extra hours. Your team has certainly earned an invitation. Would you like to come?" The invitation took him by surprise. "That's very generous, but I'd need to find someone to watch Lily." "Bring her," Renata said without hesitation. "It's not a formal event, just a barbecue by the pool. There will be a few other children there, some of my employees' kids." Noah hesitated, knowing this represented a blurring of the professional boundary between them. But the thought of seeing Renata outside of work in a more relaxed setting was appealing, and Lily had been asking about the nice lady periodically. "All right," he agreed. "We'd be happy to come." Renata's smile seemed genuinely pleased. "Wonderful. I'll have Andrea send you the details." Saturday evening found Noah and Lily driving through one of the city's most exclusive neighborhoods, following the GPS directions to Renata's home. Lily pressed her face to the window, wide-eyed at the expansive properties and manicured landscapes. "Dad, these houses are like castles," she breathed. "They're pretty impressive," Noah agreed, feeling increasingly out of place in his casual button-down shirt and best jeans. He debated what to wear for longer than he cared to admit, wanting to look appropriate without seeming like he was trying too hard. When they pulled up to the address, a modernist home of glass and stone nestled against a hillside, Lily gasped. "Is this really where she lives?" "Apparently so," Noah said, parking among the other vehicles in the circular driveway. He recognized Marcus's truck and was relieved to see some familiar faces would be present. A valet approached as they exited the car. "Good evening, sir. Miss O'Connor's gathering is around back by the pool area." Following a stone path around the side of the house, they emerged onto a stunning terrace overlooking an infinity pool that seemed to drop off into the city skyline beyond. About 30 people were scattered around the space, some in the pool, others gathered near a large outdoor kitchen where a chef was grilling. "Noah, you made it," Renata called, coming toward them. She wore a simple sundress and had her hair down, looking more relaxed than he'd ever seen her. "And you must be Lily. I'm so glad you could come." Lily, suddenly shy, moved closer to Noah's side. "Thank you for inviting us," she said politely. "There are some other kids over by the game area," Renata said, gesturing to a section of the terrace where a few children were playing with what looked like an elaborate outdoor chess set. "Would you like to join them?" "There's a girl about your age, Emma. She's the daughter of our marketing director." Lily looked up at her father questioningly. Noah nodded encouragingly. "Go ahead, Lily Pad, I'll be right here." As Lily cautiously approached the other children, Renata turned to Noah. "Can I get you something to drink? We have everything from craft beer to champagne." "A beer would be great, thanks," Noah said, still taking in the spectacular setting. "Your home is amazing." Renata led him to a bar area where she handed him a cold bottle of local craft beer. "Thank you." "It's probably too much house for one person, but the view sold me on it." "I can see why," Noah admitted, looking out at the cityscape below. "It's breathtaking." They found seats at one of the outdoor tables, and Noah was pleased to see Lily already engaged in conversation with a girl her age. The two of them bent over the chessboard. "She seems to be settling in," Renata observed. "Lily's never met a stranger," Noah said proudly. "She makes friends everywhere we go." "A valuable skill," Renata said. "When I had to work hard to develop, I was painfully shy as a child. Really, I can't imagine you being shy about anything." Renata laughed. "It's amazing what you can overcome when you have to." "After my father died, I had to learn to speak up for myself very quickly." "I'm sorry," Noah said sincerely. "How old were you?" 21. "My second year of college." Renata's expression grew distant. "He had a heart attack on a job site." By the time they got him to the hospital, it was too late. Noah could see the old pain in her eyes. That must have been incredibly difficult. It was. He'd put everything into his business, a small construction company with about 15 employees. "After his death, I discovered he'd been having financial problems. The company was on the verge of bankruptcy." "What did you do?" Noah asked, genuinely interested. "I dropped out of college temporarily to try to save it. I grew up in that business, knew all the employees and their families. I couldn't bear to see it all disappear." Renata took a sip of her sparkling water. "I managed to keep it going for almost 2 years before reality set in. The economy was changing, and small construction companies were being squeezed out by larger corporations." Noah nodded, understanding all too well the challenges she described. It was why he'd focused on specialized renovation work rather than competing for larger contracts. "Eventually, I had to sell what was left and return to school," Renata continued. "I changed my major from architecture to business and computer science. I was determined to build something that wouldn't be so vulnerable to economic shifts. And you succeeded beyond what most people ever achieve, Noah observed. Renata's smile held a hint of sadness. Professionally, yes. But sometimes, I wonder what my father would think of it all. Whether he'd be proud or disappointed that I didn't continue his legacy in construction. Speaking as a father, Noah said gently, I can't imagine he'd be anything but incredibly proud of you. Their conversation was interrupted by Lily running up to the table, excited. Dad, Emma has a treehouse with electricity and beanbag chairs. Can I go see it, please? Noah glanced at Renata, who nodded. It's perfectly safe. It's just down that path by the side garden. You can see it from here. All right, Noah agreed, but stay with Emma and be respectful of her things. As Lily darted away with her new friend, Renata said, She's wonderful, Noah, so bright and confident. Thanks, Noah said, watching his daughter with affection. She's the best part of me, and her mother. Renata asked carefully, You mentioned she's not in the picture, but… Noah took a swig of his beer, considering how much to share. Caroline and I were young when Lily was born, just 24. We tried to make it work, but Caroline struggled with depression after Lily was born. It got worse over time. When Lily was 3, Caroline decided she couldn't handle parenthood. She moved to Seattle to live with her sister, and we agreed that I would have full custody. That must have been challenging. It was, Noah acknowledged. But in some ways, it was a relief to have clarity. The constant uncertainty of Caroline's mental state was hard on all of us, especially Lily. She still talks to her mother on the phone occasionally, but Caroline hasn't been back to visit in years. Renata seemed to consider his words carefully. It takes courage to recognize when you can't be what your child needs, and even more courage to step up and be everything to your child. Noah had never thought of it that way. Most people were quick to judge Caroline for leaving, but Renata's perspective was different, understanding without condoning. As the evening progressed, Noah found himself genuinely enjoying the gathering. Renata introduced him to several Phoenix Innovations employees, always highlighting his work on the renovation with obvious respect. His team members, scattered throughout the party, seemed equally at ease, a testament to Renata's skill as a hostess. Later, as the sun set and the city lights began to twinkle below, Noah found a moment alone with Renata near the edge of the terrace. Thank you for including us tonight, he said. Lily hasn't stopped smiling since we arrived. I'm glad you came, Renata replied, turning to face him. In the soft lighting, with the city spread out behind her, she looked stunning. It's been nice getting to know you beyond our professional relationship. There was something in her tone, a warmth that suggested more than just friendly appreciation. Noah felt a pull toward her that he hadn't allowed himself to acknowledge before, but the reality of their different worlds loomed large in his mind. Renata. He was interrupted by a commotion near the pool. One of the guests had slipped on a wet spot, falling awkwardly and crying out in pain. Noah and Renata hurried over to find a woman clutching her ankle, her face contorted in agony. It's Deanna from accounting, Renata said quietly to Noah. I think she's really hurt. Noah knelt beside the injured woman. Try not to move. Can you tell me where it hurts? My ankle, Deanna gasped. I felt it twist when I fell. Noah carefully examined the rapidly swelling ankle without moving it. It could be a sprain or a fracture. You need to have it x-rayed. Renata was already on her phone, calling for medical assistance. The party mood subdued as people gathered around in concern. Should we move her inside while we wait for the ambulance? Someone asked. No, Noah said firmly. Better not to risk further injury. Let's make her comfortable here. With calm efficiency, Noah directed someone to bring ice and elevate Deanna's foot on a cushion. He stayed beside her, monitoring her condition and keeping her calm until the paramedics arrived 20 minutes later. As Deanna was being loaded onto a stretcher, she reached out to grasp Noah's hand. Thank you. You knew exactly what to do. Just basic first aid, Noah said modestly. I hope it's nothing serious. After the ambulance departed, with Renata's assistant accompanying Deanna to the hospital, the party began to disperse. Noah found Lily, who was tired but happy and prepared to leave. Wait, Renata said, catching them at the front door. I just wanted to say. You handled that situation remarkably well. Are you secretly a doctor in addition to being a contractor? Noah laughed. Hardly, but construction sites have their share of injuries. You learn to stay calm and assess the situation. Well, it was impressive, Renata said, her eyes holding his for a moment longer than necessary. Drive safely, and thank you both for coming. As Noah drove home with a sleepy Lily beside him, he found himself thinking about Renata not as the successful CEO or his current client, but as the woman who spoke of her father with such love, who opened her home to employees and contractors alike, who looked at him with warmth that had nothing to do with business. Dad, Lily's drowsy voice came from the passenger seat. I like Renata. She doesn't talk to me like I'm a baby. No, she doesn't, Noah agreed. And she looks at you like you're special, Lily added, her eyes already closing. Noah glanced at his daughter, surprised by her observation. Does she? But Lily was already asleep, leaving Noah to ponder her words as they drove through the quiet city streets toward home. The following week, work on the Phoenix Innovations renovation intensified as they addressed the plumbing issue near the patio. Noah was on site daily, often working alongside his team to ensure the problem was fixed properly before proceeding with the outdoor space design. On Wednesday afternoon, he was reviewing plans with Alina when he noticed Renata approaching across the partially demolished patio area. She was dressed more casually than usual in dark jeans and a simple blouse, and she carried what looked like takeout bags. I thought you might be hungry, she said, holding up the bags. I brought sandwiches from that deli down the street. That's really thoughtful, Noah said, surprised by the gesture. We were just about to take a break. Renata set the food on a temporary work table they'd set up. How's the plumbing situation? Better than expected, Noah reported. We found the main source of corrosion and have replaced that section. We should be able to resume the patio work by Friday. Excellent news, Renata said, looking genuinely pleased. She turned to Alina. And how are you finding the project? As Alina chatted with Renata about some of the custom woodwork planned for the employee lounges, Noah observed their interaction. Renata had a gift for making people feel valued, asking insightful questions about Alina's craft and listening intently to her responses. When Alina excused herself to check on another part of the project, Renata turned back to Noah. I wanted to thank you again for how you handled the situation with Deanna at the party. The doctor confirmed it was a severe sprain, not a fracture. She's on crutches but should recover fully. I'm glad to hear it, Noah said, unwrapping one of the sandwiches. Anyone would have done the same. There you go again, downplaying your actions, Renata said, shaking her head with a smile. First with Blake at the restaurant, now with Deanna. You have a habit of stepping up when needed and then insisting it was nothing special. Noah felt slightly uncomfortable with her praise. I just do what seems right in the moment. That's exactly what makes it special, Renata insisted. Not everyone's instinct is to help others, Noah. Some people's first thought is for themselves. Her gaze was warm, almost intimate, and Noah felt that same pull he'd experienced at her house. This time, there was no interruption, just a moment of connection that stretched between them. Finally, Noah broke the silence. Renata, he paused, unsure how to articulate what he was feeling. This may be completely inappropriate given our professional relationship, but would you like to have dinner sometime, just the two of us? Renata's smile bloomed slowly, transforming her face. I'd like that very much. Relief and anticipation mingled in Noah's chest. Great, when would work for you? How about Friday evening? Renata suggested. The renovation work should be back on track by then, according to your timeline. Friday sounds perfect, Noah agreed, already mentally arranging for his sister to watch Lily. As Renata prepared to leave, she added casually, and Noah, let me choose the restaurant, somewhere neither of us has been before, neutral territory. He understood what she meant, not one of the upscale establishments where she was known, nor one of his usual places. Somewhere they could just be themselves, without the weight of their different worlds pressing in. I'd like that, he said simply. Friday arrived with a mixture of anticipation and nervousness that Noah hadn't felt in years. He'd told Lily he was having dinner with Renata, and his daughter had responded with enthusiastic approval, further evidence of her growing attachment to the CEO. Does this mean you like her, Dad? Like her, Lily had asked that morning over breakfast. I enjoy her company, Noah had replied cautiously. We're just getting to know each other better. Lily had given him a look that suggested she wasn't fooled by his diplomatic answer. You should wear your blue shirt. It makes your eyes look nice. Now, dressed in the recommended blue shirt and waiting outside the restaurant, Renata had chosen a small, well-reviewed place that specialized in Mediterranean cuisine. Noah felt a flutter of doubt. What was he doing? Renata O'Connor was not just out of his league, she existed in an entirely different universe. She was wealthy, powerful, connected. He was a single dad who worked with his hands, constantly juggling bills and responsibilities. But then he saw her walking toward him, and all his doubts receded. She wore a simple emerald green dress that highlighted her dark hair and eyes, and her smile when she spotted him was genuine and warm. You found it, she said, reaching him. It wasn't hard, Noah replied. Your directions were perfect. Inside, they were led to a quiet table in a corner, illuminated by soft candlelight. The restaurant was elegant but unpretentious, with exposed brick walls and wooden tables. This place is lovely, Noah said after they'd been seated. How did you find it? One of my developers recommended it, Renata explained. He said it's where he proposed to his wife. Apparently the food is amazing, but they don't advertise much, so it's still somewhat of a hidden gem. The conversation flowed easily as they ordered and received their meals. They discussed the renovation progress, but quickly moved on to more personal topics: Noah's journey into construction, Renata's early struggles building her company, their shared love of creating things with their hands. Do you still do any woodworking? Noah asked, genuinely curious. Since your days helping your father, Renata's expression softened with nostalgia. I have a small workshop in my garage, nothing elaborate, but enough to make simple pieces. It helps me think when I'm stuck on a business problem. Something about the rhythm of working with wood clears my mind. I know exactly what you mean, Noah said, feeling a connection in their shared experience. There's something meditative about it. As they enjoyed their desserts, a shared plate of honey-drizzled baklava, Renata asked, what does Lily want to be when she grows up? Does she have your building skills? Noah smiled at the thought of his daughter. She's more interested in design than construction. She loves drawing house plans and creating these elaborate imaginary spaces. I wouldn't be surprised if she becomes an architect. That's wonderful, Renata said sincerely. You've clearly encouraged her creativity. I try, Noah said. It's important to me that she feels she can be anything she wants, regardless of circumstances. Renata seemed to understand what he wasn't saying. You're giving her roots and wings, stability, and the freedom to dream. That's the greatest gift any parent can offer. There was a wistfulness in her tone that prompted Noah to ask, do you ever think about having children? Renata considered the question thoughtfully. I used to think my company was my child, that building Phoenix Innovations was my legacy. But lately, she paused. Lately, I've been wondering if there's more I want from life. Their eyes met across the table, and Noah felt a current of understanding pass between them. Both had devoted themselves to their work and responsibilities, perhaps at the expense of personal connections. As the evening drew to a close, they walked together along the quiet street toward where Renata had parked her car. The night was clear, with a crescent moon hanging above the city skyline. I had a wonderful time, Renata said, stopping beside her vehicle, a surprisingly modest luxury sedan rather than the flashy sports car Noah might have expected. So did I, Noah replied, suddenly aware of how close they were standing. Renata looked up at him, her expression open and vulnerable in a way he hadn't seen before. Noah, I want to be clear about something. My interest in you has nothing to do with the renovation project. I hope you know that. I do, he said softly. And my interest in you has nothing to do with who you are professionally or financially. She smiled, seeming relieved. Good, because I'd like to see you again, and Lily too, if that's okay. I think we'd both like that, Noah said, gathering his courage. He leaned down slowly, giving her time to step back if she wanted. Instead, Renata moved closer, meeting him halfway. Their kiss was gentle, questioning at first, then deepening with a certainty that took Noah by surprise. When they finally broke apart, Renata's eyes remained closed for a moment, as if savoring the sensation. "Definitely seeing you again," she murmured, her voice slightly breathless. Noah laughed softly. "I'm counting on it." The weeks that followed were a careful dance of professional and personal boundaries. During the day, Noah continued to oversee the Phoenix Innovations renovation, maintaining a respectful working relationship with Renata when they interacted at the office. But evenings and weekends became opportunities to explore their growing connection. There were dinners at modest restaurants where they could talk without interruption. A Saturday afternoon when Renata joined Noah and Lily for a trip to the botanical gardens, and a memorable Sunday when Noah helped Renata in her workshop, collaborating on a small wooden jewelry box she was making for her assistant's birthday. With each encounter, Noah found himself increasingly drawn to Renata's combination of strength and vulnerability, her brilliant mind and compassionate heart. And to his surprise, she seemed equally captivated by him, listening intently to his stories, valuing his opinions, and showing genuine interest in his life with Lily. Lily, for her part, blossomed under Renata's attention. The 10-year-old quickly overcame her initial shyness, bombarding Renata with questions about everything from running a company to whether she preferred cats or dogs. The answer was dogs, but her travel schedule made pet ownership impractical. "She's not like other grown-ups," Lily confided to Noah after Renata had spent an entire afternoon helping with a particularly challenging school project. "She doesn't get bored when I talk about stuff I like." The renovation project was nearing completion, with the patio area transformed into an inviting outdoor workspace and the employee lounges receiving enthusiastic reviews from the Phoenix staff. Noah's team had exceeded expectations, delivering high-quality work on time despite the plumbing setback. As the final phase approached, Noah became increasingly aware that his professional reason for being in Renata's orbit would soon end. While their personal relationship had developed independently, he couldn't help wondering if the practical realities of their different lives would become more apparent once the project was complete. These thoughts were on his mind one evening as he worked late at the Phoenix offices, finalizing some custom shelving in the main employee lounge. Most of the building was empty, with only security and a few dedicated employees still present. "I thought I might find you here," Renata's voice came from the doorway. She'd changed from her business attire into more casual clothes, jeans, and a soft sweater that made her look younger, less like the formidable CEO. "Just finishing up these shelves," Noah explained, setting down his tools. They needed some minor adjustments. Renata crossed the room, admiring the craftsmanship of the built-in bookcases that would house employee resource materials and personal items. "They're beautiful. You have a real gift, Noah." "Thank you," he said, wiping his hands on a cloth. "What brings you back to the office? I thought you had a dinner meeting tonight." "It ended early," Renata said, perching on the edge of a newly installed counter, "and I wanted to see you." There was something in her expression, a mixture of determination and uncertainty, that caught Noah's attention. "Everything okay?" Renata took a deep breath. "The board is very pleased with the renovation. They've approved additional projects for next quarter, updating our conference rooms and creating a new welcome center in the lobby." "That's great," Noah said, though he sensed there was more. "I'd like to offer your company the contract for those projects," Renata continued. "But before I do, I needed to talk to you about us." Noah leaned against the opposite counter, giving her space. "I've been thinking about that too. The renovation is almost complete, and I don't want our relationship to end with it," Renata said directly. "But I also don't want you to ever feel that your personal relationship with me affects your professional opportunities. That wouldn't be fair to either of us." Noah appreciated her candor. It was one of the things he'd grown to love about her, her ability to address difficult topics honestly. "I've been concerned about that too. I don't want people to think I'm getting contracts because we're dating. So here's what I propose," Renata said, her business acumen showing through. "Any future Phoenix Innovations projects would be reviewed and approved by our facilities committee, not by me directly. I'd recuse myself from the decision-making process. That way, your work stands on its own merits. Noah considered this. That seems reasonable. But there's a bigger question here, isn't there? Renata's eyes met his. Yes, where is this going, Noah? Between us, I mean. The directness of her question both surprised and relieved him. I care about you, Renata, more than I expected to, but I've been worried about the practicalities. Our lives are so different, are they? Renata challenged gently. We both work hard at what we do. We both value honesty and directness. We both know what it's like to shoulder responsibility alone. But you're... Noah gestured vaguely, encompassing the sleek, expensive office space around them. Wealthy, successful, Renata finished for him. Those are circumstances, Noah, not who I am, just as your financial situation doesn't define you. She stood and moved closer to him. The truth is, I haven't felt this way about anyone in a very long time. Maybe ever. When I'm with you, I'm not CEO Renata O'Connor. I'm just Renata, the girl who grew up helping her dad on construction sites and who still finds peace in working with her hands. Noah reached out, taking her hands in his. They were soft, but with subtle calluses that spoke of her woodworking hobby. And when I'm with you, I never feel like I'm not enough. You see me, Renata, the real me. I do, she whispered, her eyes searching his. And I'm falling in love with what I see. The words hung between them, honest and vulnerable. Noah's heart raced as he pulled her closer. I'm falling in love with you too, and it terrifies me. Renata smiled, her eyes bright with emotion. Being terrified together is better than being safe apart, don't you think? Instead of answering with words, Noah kissed her, pouring all his hopes and fears into the connection between them. When they finally parted, both slightly breathless, Renata rested her forehead against his. So we're doing this, she asked. Really giving it a chance? Yes, Noah said simply, but we take it slow, especially with Lily involved. She's already quite attached to you. I'm quite attached to her too, Renata admitted. She's extraordinary, Noah. You've done an amazing job raising her. The pride in her voice warmed him. There's one more thing we should discuss, Noah said, keeping his arms around her. The new contracts you mentioned, I appreciate the offer, but maybe it would be better if I didn't bid on them, at least not right away. Renata pulled back slightly to look at him. Why? I want to establish myself with other clients of your caliber, Noah explained. Prove that I can build a business that stands on its own, not just because of my connection to you. Understanding dawned in Renata's eyes. You want to succeed on your own terms. Yes, Noah confirmed. I've been thinking about expanding anyway, taking on more substantial projects. Your recommendation would help, but I need to do the rest myself. I respect that, Renata said, her expression thoughtful. Actually, I might have a better idea. What would you think about partnering with Phoenix Innovations on our community revitalization initiative? What do you mean? We've committed to renovating community spaces in underserved neighborhoods, youth centers, libraries, small business incubators. It's non-profit work funded by our foundation. You could lead those projects, build your portfolio, and do some good in the process. The idea resonated with Noah immediately. That sounds perfect, actually. I'd love to be involved in something like that. Good, Renata smiled. Because I was hoping you'd say that. The first project is a youth center about 10 blocks from where you live. The foundation board is meeting next week to review proposals. Noah shook his head in amazement. You've been thinking about this for a while, haven't you? Let's just say I've been considering possibilities, Renata admitted. I'm a planner by nature, and I've been planning for you to be in my life, Noah Ingram. The certainty in her voice filled him with a sense of possibility he hadn't allowed himself to feel in years. I like the sound of that. In the months that followed, Noah and Renata navigated the complexities of blending their lives with careful consideration. The Phoenix Innovations renovation was completed to universal acclaim, with Noah's work establishing his reputation beyond doubt. He submitted a proposal for the youth center project and was awarded the contract based on the foundation board's enthusiastic response to his community-focused approach. Renata integrated herself into Noah and Lily's life with patience and care, joining them for movie nights and helping with homework, gradually becoming a steady presence rather than an occasional visitor. She learned Lily's favorite foods and author preferences, and encouraged the girl's burgeoning interest in architecture with books and a specialized drawing table for her bedroom. For his part, Noah discovered that Renata's wealth, while initially intimidating, was simply one aspect of who she was no more defining than his own modest circumstances. What mattered was the woman who worked tirelessly for her company, but made time to help Lily build a science project, who could negotiate multi-million-dollar contracts, but still got excited about finding the perfect piece of wood for a weekend project. On a warm Saturday afternoon, 6 months after their first dinner together, Noah brought Lily to Renata's home for what had become a regular weekend tradition, cooking dinner together and watching movies by the pool. But this time, Noah had something specific in mind. While Lily and Renata were engrossed in preparing homemade pizza in the kitchen, Noah slipped away to retrieve something from his truck. When he returned, he caught Renata's eye and gestured subtly toward the terrace. "Lily, would you mind getting the pizza dough ready?" "I need to show Renata something outside for a minute," Noah said casually. "Okay, but don't take too long," Lily agreed, focused on arranging toppings. "I'm getting hungry." On the terrace, with the city spread out below them and the late afternoon sun casting everything in golden light, Noah pulled a small wooden box from his pocket. It was made of walnut, with delicate maple inlays, a piece he'd crafted in secret over several weeks. "What's this?" Renata asked, taking the box from him. "Open it," Noah encouraged. Inside, nestled on a bed of velvet, was a ring not ostentatious but beautifully crafted, with a center diamond flanked by smaller sapphires. Renata's eyes widened, her hand going to her mouth. "Noah." "I love you, Renata," he said simply, taking her free hand in his. "These past months have shown me what I want for the rest of my life. You've become essential to us. Lily adores you, and I've never seen her so happy." Tears glistened in Renata's eyes as Noah continued. "I know this is fast. I know we come from different worlds. But none of that matters when I think about waking up next to you every morning, building a life together, maybe even adding to our family someday." He took a deep breath. "I don't care if we live in this house or my apartment or somewhere new altogether. I just want us to be together. Renata O'Connor, will you marry me?" Renata looked at him with such love that Noah felt his heart might burst. "Yes," she whispered. "Absolutely yes." As they sealed the promise with a kiss, a delighted squeal from the doorway announced Lily's presence. "I knew it. I knew you were going to ask her." Noah turned to find his daughter bouncing with excitement. "Were you spying, Lily Pad?" "Maybe a little," Lily admitted, racing toward them. "But I had to know. Does this mean Renata's going to be my stepmom?" Renata knelt down to Lily's level, her eyes still shining with happy tears. "If that's okay with you, yes." Lily threw her arms around Renata. "It's more than okay, it's the best thing ever." Noah joined the embrace, holding the two most important people in his world. As the sun began to set over the city, he marveled at how completely his life had changed since that night at Bellini's, when he'd stepped in to help a woman in trouble, never imagining she would become his future. "I have something to tell you both," Renata said as they walked back inside, Lily skipping ahead to check on the forgotten pizza. "I've been considering stepping back from the day-to-day operations at Phoenix, not retiring but taking a less intensive role." "Really?" Noah was surprised. "But you love your work." "I do," Renata agreed. "But I've been building this company for 12 years and we have an incredible leadership team in place. I want more time for the things that matter most now, you, Lily, the community projects, maybe even." "Even," Noah prompted. Renata's smile held a world of possibility. "Even starting the family we both want. I'm thinking a little brother or sister might be nice for Lily, don't you think?" Noah's heart swelled at the thought. "I think that sounds perfect." 1 year later, as summer sunshine spilled through the windows of their new home, a thoughtfully renovated farmhouse on the outskirts of the city, with plenty of space for Lily to explore, and a state-of-the-art workshop. They both used Noah watched Renata reading to their newest family member. 4-month-old James, named after Renata's father, gurgled happily in her arms as she narrated a picture book with theatrical voices that made Lily, now 11, giggle from her perch on the window seat. The family had found their balance. Noah's construction company had flourished, focusing primarily on community revitalization projects, while taking on select high-end renovations. Renata had transitioned to a strategic advisory role at Phoenix Innovations, allowing her to work primarily from home and devote more energy to the foundation's expanding initiatives. Life wasn't perfect. They had disagreements, sleepless nights with the baby, occasional financial discussions about balancing Noah's desire to provide and Renata's substantial resources. But the foundation of trust and respect they'd built made each challenge surmountable. As Noah moved to join his family, he reflected on how completely his life had transformed since that night when he'd simply done what he thought was right, stepping in to help someone in need. He hadn't known Renata was a millionaire CEO, hadn't been looking for love or a new mother for his daughter. He'd just seen someone who needed help, and in that moment of simple human decency, both their lives had changed forever. "What are you thinking about?" Renata asked, looking up at him with a smile that still made his heart skip. "Just how lucky I am," Noah replied, sitting beside her and wrapping an arm around her shoulders. "How one moment can change everything." "The moment you stood up for me at Bellini's," Renata asked, leaning into his embrace. "That's the one," Noah confirmed. "Best decision I ever made." Lily looked up from her book with the wisdom of a child who had watched her father find happiness. "See, Dad, I told you she was looking at you like you were special." Renata laughed, the sound blending with the baby's happy coos. "Your daughter has always been very perceptive." "She gets that from her stepmom," Noah said with a grin, placing a gentle kiss on Renata's forehead. As James drifted to sleep in Renata's arms and Lily returned to her book, Noah savored the quiet perfection of the moment. From unexpected beginnings, a confrontation in a restaurant, a chance to help a stranger had grown this. A family bound by love, respect, and the courage to see beyond circumstances to the person beneath. Sometimes, Noah reflected, the most important turns in life come when you least expect them. And sometimes, the most valuable things can't be measured in wealth or status, but in the love that transforms two separate lives into one shared journey.